My name is Itauma. Moses Itauma. I think he's a great fighter. The young, 20 years, yeah?
And that's why you got to watch it and find out. But one thing I will say about Moses is he's a very good fighter, good little boxer, good puncher, and a lovely kid as well. It's like a sponge.
Why are you taking this fight? Because this kid is on fire right now. And he's getting better and better. It's not like he's going backwards, he's going forward.
Fighters explain how terrifying Moses Itauma is in the ring. Tyson Fury praises the 20-year-old for his power, focus, and discipline. He highlights that Moses listens well, learns fast, and punches with real force. Facing someone like Dillian White at this young age shows his confidence and talent. Many believe Moses is not just promising but dangerous, and is already earning the respect of top heavyweights in the sport.
That's a good fight, actually, especially for Moses. I think it's a very good time to fight Dillian. He's had a couple of years out the ring. But, make no mistakes, Dillian White is a massive puncher to head and body. I know he's taking it very serious. I'm speaking to Ty Mitchell, who's in training camp with him. And looking forward to the fight. It's a big step up for Moses because he hasn't really fought anybody on Dillian's level. The old Dillian, it was a couple of years ago. And it's going to be interesting to see how much that Dillian White has left. And could this be potential? I think it does have the potential to do what Martin McCauley did to Jared Anderson. Maybe it's too early, or maybe he passes with flying colours. And that's why you got to watch it and find out. But one thing I will say about Moses is he's a very good fighter, good little boxer, good puncher, and a lovely kid as well. It's like a sponge. You tell him something, he absorbs it and he listens. And that's the great thing about the young kids who's coming up. And he's only 20 years old. I told him a few years ago, forget about breaking records, take your time, you've only got one career, and just enjoy it, because I remember when I was 19, 20, and now 36 has gone like that, very quick.
Alexander Usyk, one of the most technically sound boxers of this generation, didn't hold back his admiration for Moses Itauma. In a recent interview, Usyk praised Moses as a great young fighter and emphasized his strength and maturity inside the ring. Coming from a boxer like Usyk, who has fought and beaten the best in the world, this acknowledgement holds real weight. Moses' ability to impress someone of Usyk's caliber at just 20 years old proves that he's no ordinary talent. Usyk's recognition doesn't only highlight Moses' raw strength, but also suggests he already carries the composure and dedication of a seasoned fighter.
My name is Itauma. Moses Itauma. I think he's a great fighter. The young, 20 years, yeah?
20.
Yeah, 20 years. I think Itauma have big future.
Moses Itauma's coach revealed an interesting side to the young heavyweight, his passion for the history of boxing. Just like Mike Tyson, Moses studies the greats who came before him. He doesn't just watch fight tapes. He reads about their lives, their struggles, their techniques, and how they built their legacies. This mindset sets him apart from other young fighters who only focus on present-day opponents. The hunger to understand the roots of boxing shows how serious Moses is about mastering every detail. His obsession with learning and growing, mentally and physically, gives him a depth that most 20-year-olds in the sport don't have.
I think probably the biggest comparison I would say is how Mike Tyson loved the game, would always study fighters of the past, etc. Moses has that same love for it.
Does he?
Yeah, like we'll send him his sparring at 2 a.m. He'll be texting us clips like, is this more what you want?
He's a student.
Yeah, he absolutely loves it. And that's that, along with his maturity at his age.
Very composed, isn't he? Very composed. Yeah.
That is what is allowing him to achieve what he's achieving at such a young age.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of talented fighters out there, but not many that
can execute it on the back of it, yeah.
It's no surprise that comparisons between Moses Itauma and a young Mike Tyson are already being made. With his aggressive style, compact power punches, and mature presence in the ring, many believe Moses is on track to win a world title before he turns 21. This would be an extraordinary achievement, considering how rare it is for such young fighters to face the elite. His physicality, speed, and confidence bring flashbacks of Tyson's early days when he was bulldozing opponents. Although the pressure of such comparisons can be heavy, Moses seems unfazed and focused solely on proving himself through performances rather than hype.
Is Moses Itauma being babied? Jared Anderson had better opposition in his first 12 fights than Moses Itauma. Guaranteed without a doubt. Guaranteed without a doubt. He had better opposition. But Jared gets criticized. And, you know, here we have a guy like Moses being called potentially the next Mike Tyson. They believe he can win a world title under 21 years old.
Moses Itauma didn't become this good overnight. From the age of 18, observers noticed how polished and technically sound he already was. He had hundreds of amateur fights behind him and had gained experience that shaped him into a composed and calculated boxer. His footwork, defense, and clean combinations made it clear that he was built for the professional stage long before he turned pro. His early dedication laid a strong foundation, and it's this early preparation that makes his current rise look effortless. While others take years to adjust, Moses entered the professional world already looking like he belonged.
Someone so young, to be as athletic as he is, look as polished as he is. Bear in mind, I interviewed Moses Itauma before his pro debut, and one of the questions I really wanted to ask him was how many amateur fights he'd had. For someone who looked so polished and was turning pro so young, bear in mind he'd only just turned 18 at the time. Right, this is 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now. I really wanted to know how many amateur fights he had to look as polished as he did. And in that interview, he told me it was something like 22, 23 amateur fights, which is really, it's quite a low amount. It was a bit of a kind of land when he said it. I remember at the time thinking, huh? And then obviously you're interviewing, so you want to try and get the next question. You don't want to be just stopped in your tracks. But it genuinely nearly did stop me in my tracks, given how polished he looked and how good he looked. You know, I was thinking, yikes, that's actually a bit of a strange one for someone to look that polished in such short of a time. And he's obviously been fighting good amateurs, and obviously he's not one of these amateurs like Anthony Yard, no offense, who had 10 amateur fight against low level, probably wasn't doing a great deal of sparring, but just had that natural ability. All right, just had it.
Veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora questioned the logic behind Dillian Whyte agreeing to fight Moses Itauma. He pointed out that while Dillian hasn't been active recently, Moses has been constantly improving and evolving with every camp. At just 20 years old, Moses is gaining momentum and sharpening his style every day, while Dillian is returning after a layoff. Chisora noted that Moses' age shouldn't fool anyone because his power, style, and hunger give him a serious edge. His concern wasn't just about Dillian's readiness, it was about how dangerous Moses has quietly become. When seasoned boxers show caution, the threat is real.
I had a phone call a couple of weeks ago. They offered me to fight Moses Itauma in Saudi. You know, I said, how much? He said, 2 million. I said, nah, I'm out. I even phoned Dylan. I was like, Dylan, I don't know why you're taking this fight, you know, because this kid is on fire right now. And he's getting better and better. It's not like he's going backwards, he's going forward.
One of the reasons he is taking it is that Moses is WBO #1 at the moment, so that there's some kind of light at the end of the tunnel for Dillian taking that fight.
Ain't no light at the end of that tunnel.
I agree with you. I think Moses... I don't think Dillian gets beyond 4 or 5 rounds.
You're crazy. Yeah. There's no light in that tunnel. That kid is... No, you mad. No way. Even Lawrence Okoli said Moses is bad.
As the fight talks between Moses Itauma and Dillian Whyte heat up, the boxing world is divided. Some believe Moses is the best young heavyweight in the world right now, while others caution that Dillian is a step too far this early. Dillian has faced top-tier opponents and carries veteran experience that Moses doesn't yet possess. However, Moses has youth, speed, and sharp skills on his side. The matchup is being viewed as the ultimate test for both. For Dillian, it's a chance to shut down the hype. For Moses, it's a golden opportunity to prove he can swim with the sharks.
Can he still use them? It's a common opinion that Moses is a great prospect. He's got all the talent in the world. But as a professional, he's untested. I think Dillian sees this as a perfect opportunity to shut the hype train on Itauma, beat this young prospect who everyone's shouting about and get the light back on him. But the problem is, if he loses, he's got nowhere to go. It's game over. But this is boxing. High risk, high reward, or scrambling at the bottom of the heap. We know that Moses wanted to beat Mike Tyson's record in becoming the youngest heavyweight champion of the world, but he's missed that now. So we know he wants to move fast and test himself. He's reaching for greatness, but as the saying goes, you can't put an old head on young shoulders. So maybe he's biting off more than he can chew. From his point of view, beating a veteran like Dillian Whyte will give him credibility. You know, put him in the mix with the top guys. I'm definitely a fan of Moses. He's got the skill, the talent, the work ethic, and the mindset. The only thing he lacks is experience. And I suppose the only way to get it is to fight these guys. In the fight business, you've got to have thick skin because there's always going to be doubters. It's part of the game. Personally, I don't see the rush. There's so many good fights, even at domestic level. He's only 20. I just feel he's got time on his side. He needs time to mature. Heavyweights don't mature till late 20s. I just see so much value going the traditional route. English, British, Commonwealth, European, then world honours. In my opinion, it's so important. That's your apprenticeship. Gradually learning the game, gaining experience, and each time you pass the test, you step up. This type of progression builds the foundations. There's a reason why the greats.
Boxing analyst Spencer Oliver emphasized that fans have only seen a glimpse of how scary good Moses Itauma can be. According to Oliver, now that Dillian Whyte is lined up as a potential opponent, this will be Moses' biggest test yet. The way Moses handles this kind of experienced power puncher will reveal how complete he really is. Oliver believes Moses has the tools, but Dillian will push him in ways he's never faced before. Fighting someone like Dillian Whyte is not just a risk, it's a massive opportunity for Moses Itauma. Most fighters build up their records slowly, but Moses is looking to accelerate the path. Fans are already backing him, hoping he beats Dillian and earns respect on a world-class stage. Whether he wins or learns, this fight will give him experience that no training session can offer.
Oh, it's a massive step up, but every time the kid steps up, look, we're talking about someone here who I believe is a super talent, not if he wins a world heavyweight title, but when he wins a world heavyweight title. And fortunately for Moses Itauma, he has the right man behind him in Frank Warren, because he knows how to guide the careers and take the right fights at the right time. And they feel that this is the right timing now for Dillian Whyte, who's not looked particularly good in his last couple of fights, but we know that he's heavy-handed and we know that he'll come and give it everything, because he knows it's last chance saloon for him. He needs the victory here. So, look, we find out just how good Moses Itauma is, I think, on the 16th of August when he boxes Dillian Whyte, because I think he wins it and wins it in style. But everyone they put in front of him so far is just dismantled. I think this kid's going to go on and win a world title, and it could be as soon as 12 months.
Moses Itauma will face Dillian Whyte in Saudi Arabia on the 16th of August. Now, I must say this, guys, I am pleasantly surprised about this. I did not expect this fight to happen right now. Now, when Dillian Whyte pulled out of the Ipswich card, I was thinking maybe he's going to fight someone like Joseph Parker or Lawrence Okoli, because they've had some beef going on. And then with Moses Itauma, after his last fight where he destroyed Mike Balogun, I thought that, you know, he needed some learning fights. He needed fights where people or his opponent is going to give him something to think about. But I did not expect that to be Dillian Whyte. And I'm going to say here first, Moses Itauma is absolutely going to destroy Dillian Whyte.
Stories like this prove that Moses Itauma is cut from a different cloth. His coach shared that even in brutal minus 15 degrees Celsius winter conditions, Moses didn't skip a single run. He kept up his grueling 1,000-meter hill runs without hesitation. That kind of mindset separates future champions from casual contenders. While others may rest, Moses trains harder. It's that level of obsession and work ethic that makes analysts and veterans believe he's destined for greatness. Talent can take you far, but relentless discipline like this builds unstoppable champions.
I think this was Christmas Eve or something like that. At the time, I didn't have my running shoes. I wore my uncle's trainers, and I didn't really have no running clothes, and I wore his work clothes. Yeah, it's quite hard because it's also like 1,000 meter altitude, which makes it even harder with the snow, the altitude. And I actually slipped on this run as well because it's icy.
It's very honest of you to say. And what temperature would you say this was?
I think it was like minus 15.
Boxing analysts are not holding back when it comes to Moses Itauma. They believe he's not just a talented fighter, he's the next British boxing superstar. At just 20 years old, he has already surpassed expectations. His speed, control, and mental focus are far beyond what most boxers achieve even in their late 20s. Experts agree that he has all the tools to become world champion in the near future. What's impressive is how mature and composed he is at such a young age. The predictions aren't based on hype. They're built on everything Moses has already shown.
He'll get to where he's going to get to. All of those guys are their own characters. Moses was recently presenting an award at the MOBO Awards. I think the PR stuff is really coming on very well. We've got to remember he is just 20 years old. What was Anthony Joshua doing at 20 years old? You know, what was Tyson Fury doing at 20 years old? I don't think he was necessarily holding court at presses like that or going on Graham Norton. This is a young man with a long career. He's going to win a lot of belts and he's going to make a lot of noise, and I think he's doing brilliantly.
When asked about the possibility of facing Alexander Usyk one day, Moses Itauma didn't shy away. He admitted it would be a massive opportunity both financially and professionally. But he also gave Usyk his full respect, calling him a hell of a fighter. That balance between confidence and humility is rare in young boxers.
Why would Usyk take that fight? That's obviously my first thought. But, I mean, if the fight was to present itself and that was like, right, you're fighting Usyk in May, I'm like, yeah, I'm taking it 100%. There's no loss in that. Do you get what I mean? I would take that fight 100%. But I just think, like, why would Usyk do that? Why would he? I mean, the money, he's made plenty of money.
What happens if you and Alexander Usyk sharing in December, let's say?
What do you think?
I'm asking you.
No. I know my answer, but what do you think?
I think it's a hell of a fight.
You gone commercial, you gone generic.
Moses Itauma has openly shared his desire to build his name by taking on strong British opponents. He mentioned Solomon Dacres as one of the names on his hit list. Moses believes facing local rivals will help him rise faster and earn credibility in the domestic scene before stepping into global waters. He's not looking for easy fights. He wants real competition. His attitude shows hunger, ambition, and strategy.
Me and my team, we mentioned a few names. Obviously, we've got like Justice Hooney, Dempsey McKean, Simon Keane, Tom Schwartz. But I feel like it's going to be nice to get a British fighter under my belt. So I feel like I'm looking for the winner of Solomon Dacres and David Adley, Fraser Clark. Johnny Fisher did really impress me the weekend. I did not think that he was going to do that against
Alan
Babbage. And I feel like now he's someone to be taken serious. I don't think he's just like a ticket seller for Eddie Hearn. I actually do believe that he's a man to be taken serious now, so even that's a potential fight for me.
Joseph Parker's trainer has also acknowledged the rise of Moses Itauma, calling him the future of boxing. He even mentioned that a fight between Parker and Moses would be exciting and meaningful. For Moses, that matchup could be a gateway to a world title. Facing someone like Parker, who's fought at a world level, would allow Moses to prove he belongs with the elite. The trainer believes that when the time is right,
opponent Dillian White, but if Moses Itauma is as good as we all think he is, he wins the fight, and he wins it in fashion.
Yeah, Moses Itauma, it's almost like they're picking opponents for him already. One of the opponents that has been at least earmarked for Moses this year maybe is Joseph Parker. Let's hear from Joseph Parker's manager and trainer, Andy Lee. This is what he had to say about a potential Joseph Parker versus Moses Itauma showdown.
For me, Moses is the future of the heavyweight division. For Moses, it's a risky fight. For Joe, it's a risky fight because there's no upside to beat Moses for Joe. There is. He's building his name. He's a significant heavyweight now, Moses, but he's an up and coming guy, and Joe's already at the top. So there's a risk for Joe, but there's a risk for Moses that he fights Joe, and there's never the same again coming back from it. You know, if Joe has his way and if we have a way, but it's a risky fight for both men, and it's an exciting fight. Maybe it's for the vacant title. It would be worth it. It'd have to be worth it. You know what I mean? So, but there's who's out there? Anthony Joshua. That's an interesting fight, but does it happen? I don't think so. I don't know. I just think Joe has become a dangerous fighter for anyone to be in the ring with now.
Legendary trainer Teddy Atlas had a balanced take on Moses Itauma. While he sees the potential, he also offered honest advice. Moses must keep fighting top-tier opponents and keep sharpening his skill set. According to Atlas, raw power isn't enough. Moses needs to keep learning.
On that, that's not going to happen now. So, concentrate on his career. Concentrate on what you're doing, forming him, developing him as the best fighter he can be. Not just a puncher, but a complete fighter. Not just a meteor across the sky that's streaking right now, but a planet. Someone with staying power, someone that can have longevity, with substance, with, and that comes with experience. That comes with fighting better guys. It's time to start now. You got everyone's attention. Now you got to start fighting the kind of guys that will make you that planet. That when your day comes, when the moment comes, and it's coming, but when it comes, you'll be ready. So you got to start answering questions now. The most important questions are for the fighter himself. Can he depend on himself? Do I belong? When I get to that next level, can I feel sure that I belong, that I'm ready, that I can sniff that rarefied air and I won't faint from it? That's a big part of developing a fighter, that the fighter knows that they can depend on themselves, that they're ready for the moments that are coming. And that only comes from fighting increasingly better. You do it the right way. You do it properly. You don't do it in a rush. You don't do it where you make mistakes. But you gradually increase the competition with durable guys.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.